In the room next door to Gerry was a man called Bob. Remember the name for later. Bob was suffering from the various wide-ranging, all-over body symptoms of even more various wide-ranging and multilocatory conditions. He claimed to have come in with appendicitis 3 months earlier and had never been allowed to leave. Bob was 50% of the guy on the ward that nurses loved to hate. That is to say, they hated him and didn't love him at all. He was what you might call, if you worked with him in an office, the office joker. AKA, oh God, not that knobber again. Bob's collection of whoopee cushions, fake dog poos and other comedic props collected by well-meaning relatives from his office in the station's firm where he'd left behind, would keep the other patients on their toes, if not amused, leading to more than one recuperating diabetic finding themselves in bed for the long haul, following an hilarious doggy-doo japes slip-up. Cracked ribs are no laughing matter, readers, even when Bob's such a great comedian. Each morning before the nurse's early check, Bob would be sitting up in bed wearing a different comedy tie over his pyjamas. Though nobody ever actually saw him, caught him in the act of changing the now locally famous neckwear. Interspersed in the themed cartoon character designs on the ties were the hilarious selection of quoted limericks and weak puns favoured by high street stores. The cringeworthy medical themed ties were Bob's personal favourites, sporting such slogans as "Warning, crazy nurse," or "Trust me, I'm a PhD," and "I've got OCD, please tell me the time accurately." Possibly funny the first time you saw them, but in a hospital where the injured and insane found a form of transitory wellness production line. Possibly funny the first time you saw them, but in a hospital where the injured and insane formed a kind of transitory wellness production line, they went down like a lead balloon with a knackered staff. Bob also wore musical ties, but a libel action by the NHS prevents these from being discussed in any detail. Poor Bob. He'd only worn these electronic and comedic fashion accessories to cheer people up a bit, and it had sort of worked in that once he agreed to stop wearing them, in the case of the musical, the cravats, and in the case of... oh, for fuck's sake. Poor Bob. He'd only worn these electronic and comedic fashion accessories to cheer people up, and it sort of worked in that once he'd agreed to stop wearing them, and in the case of the musical, cravats had stopped somehow broadcasting their tunes over hospital radio, there was a boost in annual staff satisfaction survey, and also a statistical, if negligible, decrease in cases of depression in long-term patients. In short, Bob had reluctantly agreed to stop wearing them on the basis that, as well as getting on everyone's tits, they'd been interfering with some of the hospital's monitoring equipment, leading to one family being wrongly informed that their grandma was dead on 3 separate occasions, whilst the tune to "She'll Be Coming Round the Mountain" played in the background. The nurses deemed responsible on the day eventually recovered after quite a lot of counselling. But it perhaps is one and only tiny little personal contribution to the betterment of humanity. Bob persuaded Gerry to go speed dating. "Go on, it'll be a laugh," he proclaimed. Go on, it'll be a laugh," he proclaimed in a strong Glaswegian accent, despite the fact that he lived his entire life in Exeter and usually spoke with a fairly neutral middle-class southern west. He's an idiot. Southwestern intonation. Gerry had been dubious and also sceptical. I'm not sure which of those words is right. But Bob didn't give up too easily. If he was going to be confined for months in a hospital bed, even with his made-up illnesses, then goddammit, he was going to live his life vicariously through someone else, even if it killed him or them. Yeah, so Gerry goes speed dating. And when he goes speed dating, this happens. The lady from the horoscope dating agency was really quite rude, but Gerry had to concede effective. Her tactic of barraging the singleton in question with a tirade of personal abuse relating to their independent status and character shortcomings was designed to shame the prospective client into signing up. It worked. Gerry was booked onto a speed dating evening that very weekend. Bob was pleased and insisted on a full report, which he happily related to anyone who would listen for the next 2 weeks. Remodelled in the style of Match of the Day commentator John Motson. "And there goes Gerry, speed dating. There he goes, approaching the table," etc., etc. My word. And anyway, 6 months later, Gerry thought his life was over. Then good fortune and a bushy speed dating rep had thrown Gerry a lifeline called Sue.